Here's a couple reasons. Mad one, baby. Little one, baby. Elo, filter soul, sick May. Not to get paid. So many reasons. Why so many foods are changing like the seasons? Eye to eye, homeboy. Let's make this money. Mexicans bouncing, turning, buying ounces, straight up burning. Fuck what you're earning, hit the switch, lift the ride, jiggle the tits. Now watch sparks fly off the spray plate, beat in the trunk that vibrates, playing on eight. Pump the brakes, eyes on the low low, bounce up and down, rock po in the LTD four-door. Let your pants hang, some bang bang, some shoot 'em up, bang bang with the thang thang. Sometimes we pour, sometimes we fall. Do what it takes just to get it all. Love money and the candy paint. For the diamond rings that shine like metal plate. To be more specific, materialistic and like to lick it before you stick it. We be the reason why you mash up and down the street with a trunk full of beat. California ghetto, phone suppliers, making cars hot, straight popping tires. We be the reason why you mash up and down the street with a trunk full of beat. California ghetto, phone suppliers, making cars hot, straight popping tires. We be the reason.
Here's how the story goes. Once upon a time, I was chilling with some bitches, you know, just minding mine. Going over the scenery, bitches drinking beer with me to make them sing close. You know the feeling me, you know I'm not the one to trip. I got banana clips, right under my knuckle down to make another buckle. I tussle with the devil, every ghetto got a fool. Now they talking out of his ass, so I send him to the bed. I pass it to the homie and I go about my way, yeah. I'm your dog, I'm your homie for the day. Anyway, I had to say it, but I play it to the rhythm. I listen to the words you be saying, but I ain't with them. I'm wise to the scoop, got a boot in your ass. Here I go again with my legendary laugh. It's motherfucking little with the man over knee. Now motherfuck your life, bitch, you ain't knowing me.
We be the reason why you mash up and down the street with a trunk full of beat. California ghetto, phone suppliers, making cars hot, straight popping tires. We be the reason why you mash up and down the street with a trunk full of beat. California ghetto, phone suppliers, making cars hot, straight popping tires. We be the reason. Sitting there wondering what went wrong. So-called homies been doing you all alone. Individual, shady criminal, bitching up, switching up, first runner up, fuck the law. Writers like us break down walls, no lie. Ask the FBI, watch the lead fly. Quit grabbing my space, regardless I'ma shine like a Lolo sitting on lace, keeping a straight face. Life's a gamble, too much to handle. This rap shit can swallow you whole. So recognize the blood dripping off the popo. It's that spiculate, suck my dick in this ghetto porno flick. Police undercover, fucking the innocent with no rubber. I gotta get an injection for the infection, no question. Who's the enemy? Is it those that work and smoke and drink with me? We be the reason why you mash up and down the street with a trunk full of beat. California ghetto, phone suppliers, making cars hot, straight popping tires. We be the reason why you mash up and down the street with a trunk full of beat. California ghetto, phone suppliers, making cars hot.
Good afternoon. It's another edition of the Ellen Carrington Show. I hope you are having a pleasant week, and thanks for tuning in today in this hot weather. I had quite an interesting day yesterday. Needed my state photo ID renewed, and finally had the opportunity to visit the PennDOT Driver's License Center in downtown Pittsburgh. We call it PennDOT here. Rest of you in the country probably know it as the Department of Motor Vehicles, or the DMV. But anyway, I found this new center a much nicer setup than its previous location, located in the state office building. Walked inside, got a number from the security guard, go to wherever you needed to be, you have a seat, get called, do your business. Side note, the best times to visit the center are between 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. Otherwise, you'll probably be in for a substantial wait. If you don't know where the new PennDOT Driver's License Center is downtown, I posted a photo from Google Maps along with the address on our show's Facebook page, so you'll want to check that out if you need to renew your driver's license at any time. A couple other things. I'm currently working on booking some guests for future shows, and I think these potential ones will be people you'll enjoy, particularly if you love wrestling and other sports. So stay tuned for that. We'll see how that works out. So we've been sending messages back and forth anyway, and we're getting schedules worked out and that type of thing. And I also plan to broadcast a future show from Latrobe, Pennsylvania during the Steelers training camp, which is going to run July 27th through August 17th. More than likely, special episode will air during August, so stay tuned for further developments about that. Plans are underway to not only broadcast live from Tampa during fall 2013 after the release of the Maryland Diaries, which is my upcoming book, but also compile yet another Pittsburgh-themed episode. Last week's show gained a lot of listeners. Now, I don't know if it's people just right here in the city, or we had a lot of nebby people around the country, but hey, I'm not complaining. Once I put a third show together, I'll broadcast it in the near future, perhaps during one of the special broadcasts from Latrobe. We'll see how that goes. Pardon me. Now on to today's show highlights. By now you've heard the verdict in the George Zimmerman trial and many forms of backlash surrounding that verdict. I've gone on record to say I'm neither happy nor unhappy with this verdict. If you think about it, there are no winners here. A 17-year-old young man is still dead, and because what many see as a bad judgment call on the part of a 29-year-old man, that guy's going to spend the rest of his life looking over his shoulder. Believe me, I don't think I'd want to be George Zimmerman right now. However, I do believe if the tables were turned, this case would have never made national news. I'm not being mean. It's just an observation on my part. But think about it. In another reality, would there be rallies and protests? There are numerous comparable incidents I can remember where the assailant was black and the victim was another race. One that comes to mind is the mid-1990s shooting of a University of Pittsburgh student on Fifth Avenue. I don't know how many of you remember that one. But I believe that happened near what used to be a Masonic temple. The victim is paralyzed for the rest of his life as a result of that shooting. Where was the outrage after this incident? And on another case in Florida, you probably heard about this one. Woman fires a gun into the ceiling. She gets 20 years. Now, where's the outrage and the rallies for that? See where I'm getting here? But in any case, a Florida jury made its decision based on what evidence they had, or in some cases, the lack of it. It's time to let this go and move on to other things, difficult as accepting the verdict may be. And here's on to end it, a simple mantra for people from all walks of life. No violence, and I mean no violence, against anyone is acceptable, regardless of race, economic class, gender, sexual orientation, or anything else. Nobody deserves to be hurt. Nobody deserves to be killed, no matter what you think about them. It's got to stop, folks, right now. And while we're talking about guns, here is a news item I found over this past weekend. First graders in Missouri may be able to enroll in an NRA-sponsored gun class as a result of a public safety bill signed into law by Governor Jay Nixon this past Friday. School personnel will be required to participate in at least 8 hours of, quote, active shooter and intruder response training, unquote, program conducted by law enforcement officials and allow schools to apply for financial grants for the NRA's Eddie Eagle Gun Safe program. And the state of Missouri joins North Carolina, Texas, and Virginia in providing an endorsement of the NRA program through state laws. And Ohio was the very first state funding the Eddie Eagle program. You know, I'm not sure what I would think about this. And while it's good that someone wants to teach children to protect themselves in precarious situations, personally, I wouldn't feel comfortable having youngsters that age handling firearms. You know, in first grade, I was playing with my Barbie dolls and, playing in the dirt, making mud pies, that type of thing. I wasn't worried about handling a gun. But maybe I came from a different background at a different time. But in any case, given the rise in incidents of gun-related crime over the past decade or so, I don't think, youngsters handling firearms, at least under the age of 16. I'm going to be generous about that. But guns in general make me nervous, and I'd never own one. I don't see the Eddie Eagle program being funded in Pennsylvania anytime soon, but I can't predict the future. Right now we're in a kind of a battle to get gay marriage legalized here, and while I'm for it, I say good luck with that because there are a lot of people here just making a stink about it. I mean, come on, people, it's the 21st century. It's time to get the act together. So what do you think about first graders taking gun handling classes? You can leave your thoughts on our Facebook page or right here on the wall. And we hear so many negative stories about teenagers, going back to people, the whole Trayvon thing. But this always cheers me when I find a news item about teenagers who do good work. And here's an excellent example. It comes out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. A 5-year-old girl vanished July 11th after she was last seen playing in her front yard. 15-year-old Tamar Boggs and his friend joined the search for Jocelyn Rojas. And when they spotted the girl in a sedan half a mile away, they chased the suspect on their bicycles for 15 minutes. The abductor eventually stopped his car and let out Jocelyn, who ran to the boys and said she needed her mom. The abductor, he drove off. Apparently they haven't caught him yet, or maybe they did and haven't heard anything. But anyway, Tamar and his friend took a big risk. And thanks to their efforts, a little girl is alive and safe today. These young men are heralded as heroes, and rightfully so. My hat is off to them. I say, hey, great job. I bet these boys' parents are just proud of them. And let me tell you, I can't blame them because they took, it could have come out a lot worse, but fortunately for them and little Jocelyn, they didn't. So good job, guys. Way to go. And it's time to get off guns and crime and turn to something a little more lighthearted. A blogger on Thought Catalog, I don't know how many people are familiar with that site, but anyway, she listed 10 hot guys who are celebrities, and she thinks they're ugly. Now, a few entries I agree with, but given my taste for men some may consider quote-unquote goofy looking, perhaps my opinion may not be taken seriously by some. In any case, I'm going to share a couple from the list, and bear with me here for a moment. You might agree with me, you might agree with the blogger, you might even think. Here we go. Here's some people. Let's start with Justin Bieber. She listed him on here. And she says, sometimes I play this game with myself where I take a quick gander at Justin Bieber and then another quick gander at Ellen DeGeneres to see if I can tell them apart. More often than not, I lose. Here's what she has to say about Bradley Cooper. I don't think Bradley Cooper's a bad looking guy, but apparently doesn't turn on the blogger. But this is what she says. I am firmly opposed to the Bradley Cooper craze. At no point in your career, Mr. Cooper, did I ever think you were hot. The closest you came to hot was when you drank another man's blood in Limitless. Bootleg Matthew McConaughey is what you are. And she's going on here about Paul Walker. Many moons ago, Paul Walker appeared in Pleasantville and then soon after in She's All That. Then, a zealous imposter going by the same name joined the Fast and the Furious conspiracy to monopolize the world, and, to my knowledge, there has been no trace of the real Paul Walker since. Let's see, John Mayer made her list too. John Mayer has what I like to call Jeremy Piven syndrome, wherein he sleeps with every barely legal girl living in New York City. Ooh. A side note to Mr. Mayer. I don't like you in a scarf, I don't like you in a hat, and I certainly don't like you in a bandana. Here's what she has to say about Taylor Lautner. Oh boy, this might upset a few people. Sometimes it's fun to think back on all the times someone mentioned the name Taylor Lautner to me, and I had to pretend I knew who this was. Then I found out who he was and tried to blind myself. Oh, Lord. But I'm going to post a link to that blog, and you can read it for yourself, but that's just a few examples. And we're going to move a moment from blogs to billboards. You know, those things you see on the side of the road with silly advertisements or whatever. But if you live or have driven by the South Hills area of Pittsburgh, you likely spotted a billboard advertisement on Library Road in the Royal Place for arrangement finders. Now, this billboard features former adult film star Brie Olson, and the caption reads on that billboard says, "Hey students, need a summer job? Date a sugar daddy." Ugh. The site is an exclusive service that connects men and women. They're looking for quote-unquote mutual benefit arrangements. And according to last count, 8,500 members are from the Pittsburgh area. No phone number on the billboard, but instead it lists the Arrangements Finders website, which is arrangementfinders.com, in case you want to check that out. And while most students need support to cover their college bills, and who doesn't, the so-called mutually beneficial arrangements, or dating a sugar daddy, to put it in more blunt terms, it's not only an insult to women and it discourages them from taking pride in earning their own incomes, but to me, it reeks as a form of prostitution. Let's put it out there, people. In addition, dating a sugar daddy contradicts the concept of women giving an education to empower themselves and to earn a decent, honest living. Not to mention such arrangements, they don't always end well. But I'll post the link to this and other stories mentioned on today's show on our Facebook page, so be sure to check it out. Leave your thoughts, especially if you're either a college student or you have a daughter in college. But let's go from college students to babies. Who doesn't like babies? What about bald babies? You think they're cute? Hey, I do. While some parents have gone to great lengths to make sure their babies have a full head of hair, many others are outraged that a company makes wigs for babies. Yeah, you heard right, baby wigs. Well, just when you thought you heard everything, huh? But anyway, babybanks.com makes wigs for infants. They're available in a array of colors and styles to suit all different bald-headed babies. It's a product made of simple hair and headband accessory. It's silky strands of man-made fiber. But, a lot of online bloggers and social media outlets, to say they're not impressed would be an understatement. But they state that babies should not be wearing wigs, I'm sorry. But, hey, I find peach fuzz on babies' heads quite charming. Though, according to my own late mother, I was the only one among my siblings born with a full head of hair. Said, you had this full head of black hair. But your brothers and sisters were bald as cue balls. I remember hearing that. And she said my grandmother was just, wow, impressed by that. But anyway, so many outlandish baby products have been developed in the past, which kind of got a thumbs down from the online media. You probably remember the whole baby stiletto craze. Come on now. Kid's not even walking yet, and you're going to make them wear stilettos? I don't even wear stilettos at my age. Of course, I didn't wear them in my 30s either, but that's another story for another time. It's bad enough there's grown-up type fashions aimed at girls young as 5 or 6. Do we really need these products aimed at babies? Really? Whatever happened to letting them and kids just being those, babies and children? Kids grow up fast enough. Why rush the process? It's just crazy. Leave your comments, your thoughts about that. Especially if you have kids, would you, if you have a bald baby, would you buy a wig for them? Just let them go out there and rock the peach fuzz. But getting off that subject, no episode of this show is complete without at least mentioning a wrestling topic. Or a few. I recently discovered a site called ProSportsFix.com after a Facebook post which linked to a podcast. This was about a couple weeks ago. It was about the failed WCW invasion. Matt the Hitman Hoover and Anthony Professor Pierce discussed the failed WCW invasion of the WWF during this particular broadcast, along with ECW joining the invasion, and how they would have handled the invasion storyline had they been given the opportunity. I'm going to post the link to that as well. It's a good listen. You got to check it out. And while we're talking about WCW, Matt Hoover discussed in one show while he still watched WCW during its 2001 decline, He ran down the entire WCW roster, reminisced about it, speculated where the now defunct promotion was headed prior to closing. If you're a fan or even want to relive all things WCW, I highly recommend listening to this one and the podcast I just mentioned. And both are free to listen to and download, so enjoy. And I'm sure Matt and the Professor would like to hear your comments about the show, so be sure to visit their site and visit their page. Download the show, give it a listen, leave a note. I'm sure they'd like that. And some shows on the wrestling front. These are some local news coming up. First off, don't forget that International Wrestling Cartel will present Proving Ground 2 at the White Oak Athletic Association located on 1606 Lower Heckman Road in White Oak, Pennsylvania. The bell time is at 7:30 in the evening. Ticket prices are ringside reserved for $15, general admission for $12, and kids under 10 general admission is $7. These tickets may be ordered online at www.iwcwrestling.com/tickets/provingground2.html. Another local promotion is having a show. It's coming up on July 27th. Pro Wrestling Express will present their show at 2125 Beacon Street in McKeesport, PA. They also have a 7:30 p.m. bell time. Their tickets will be available online for ringside at $12. General admission is $10, and kids under 12 are $6. If you'd prefer to purchase your tickets at the door, and that's fine too. Now, those ticket prices are ringside $15. General admission is $12, and kids under 12 are $6. And if you want to order your tickets online or check out the Summer Scorcher Show card, you can log on to www.prowrestlingexpress.com/events.html. You can also follow PWX on Twitter at PWX Pro Wrestling, or like their Facebook page at www.facebook.com/nwaeast.pwx. The third show I'd like to tell you about is headed our way on August 11th. Big Time Wrestling is going to be at the Ross Draver Ice Arena, Ice Gardens, I'm sorry. Looking at the site here. But that will be in Belle Vernon, PA. They are going to feature the living legend Terry Funk, Matt Hardy, the franchise Shane Douglas, 5-time WWE Women's Champion Mickie James, Carlito Colon, Chris Masters, Rebby Sky, The Patriot, and all the stars of Big Time Wrestling. Meet and greet will take place at 1 o'clock. Their bell time for this show will be at 3 p.m. It's on a Sunday afternoon. Ticket prices range from $15 for general admission seats up to $50 for front row. And these tickets can be purchased online for an additional service fee. I'll pop up the link to that site at the end of the show. Another site I discovered and found humorous is KFAB News. Now keep in mind, this is not an actual wrestling news site. Many read online. What KFAB News does, it's create and takes a twist on actual wrestling personalities. Call it a parody, if you will. But there are some great KFAB stories on this site. Many lighthearted and spirited, but they don't mean to be mean. And for a few chuckles, I recommend checking that out. If you want to take a look, you can go to www.kfabnews.com and get a few laughs for yourself. I think before we leave today, I'm going to maybe play another production theme. Get our little hearts moving. Before we go off the air today, we got a few minutes left. So, sit back and enjoy Rock the World. more, something to get you moving today. Got a couple minutes left. Unfortunately, we are almost out of time today. But I invite everyone to tune again next week, July 24th, pending any changes, with another day's list of topics or possibly a guest. Meanwhile, have a great rest of the week and an enjoyable weekend. 47 out of 50 U.S. states are in the midst of a heat wave right now. So if you don't have to venture outside, please stay indoors as much as possible or find a cooling center near you. Take care. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.